Oh, this is fun. Hey, Linda. Oh, Linda? Got a picture. Hmm. There you are.
Oh, okay. I kept trying to go. I kept trying to unmute myself and start the video because I could see that they were both X'd off. And the only, you know what I had to hit to make it work?
What?
Leave the meeting.
Oh, what?
So yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah. So it's I
Well,
it's
it's a delight to see you.
good to see you too. I'm sorry I didn't come out in person.
Well, no, it sounded from your message that you're doing exactly the right thing.
I just gotta get my energy back and
Yeah.
do little bits of what I want to do and what I can do, and
Wow. This really hit you.
it did. It did. I just heard from somebody that is going through the same thing that said taking zinc has helped.
Huh.
So I wonder if I should start taking zinc.
Might try that.
Yeah.
Carol's not going to be with us today. Her Canadian family is visiting.
Okay.
And Shell may or may not be here, depending on whether she gets back from her appointment or not.
Okay. Okay.
So, life.
Yes. 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 Yes.
But things are good over here.
Good.
And
Good.
I'm delighted to hear we have a February birthday luncheon set.
Yes. Yes. I emailed Jane Bugby to see if she was available. Most likely she is. Usually Fridays she is
Uh-huh.
available. The 12 o'clock noon, I'm not sure. I think she does her regular hair appointment in on Friday morning. So if you've got some flexibility, if she needs to shift a little later, um, we might have to do that. But I think we got her too, because that's usually a good day for her.
Uh-huh. Good. Well,
Yeah.
that Friday is completely clear for both of us. So, whatever.
Okay. I'll keep you posted on what I hear from her. I'll see her on Wednesday. We're going to a class in New Haven.
Oh, you're
Um,
gonna, uh-huh.
I want to try and make that one.
I, I was sitting here thinking, hope she's driving.
Yeah, I'll drive Jane. So that's we always catch up on our carpooling with that. So
Uh, well, don't overdo.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to keep to a minimum. And I canceled a rehearsal this morning that I was just like, nope, not gonna make it.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
that's Master Joe's fourth principle. Don't overdo.
Do what you are able to.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's
And
just
I also like Bruce's 70% approach, um, because he always says it's you should only be doing 70% of what you're capable of doing at that moment.
mm.
And some days 70% is a lot higher than other days.
Yes, it is.
And we're inclined to think it's always the same, but it ain't.
That's it'd be nice if it was. Then you
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about it, but I guess it keeps us in tuned with where we are.
Yeah, well, it's part of it.
Yeah.
Learning to stay in the present moment.
Yeah, exactly.
So, um, well, I am inclined to think that at least Shell is not joining us for the moment. So maybe we'll begin.
Okay.
And if she arrives, we'll let her in.
Yes.
We won't keep her out.
No.
So I suppose you haven't been doing a lot of meditating.
Not a whole lot. I've been doing a little bit.
Hmm?
Um, Trying to play around with the feeling of the bounciness that you were talking about in the opening the energy aids,
Uh-huh.
and it feels kind of good. It's I don't know. I can't really say better, worse, whatever, but it's just kind of interesting to try things out like that and
Yeah.
feel the difference. Um, Not having, being in a totally different place of my focus and everything like that. I'm not sure that it's telling me anything, but
Well, um, if you can feel the bounciness, then that's telling you something.
okay.
You're at least being aware of that. Um, it's the refining of that awareness to when it's at its turning point, bottom and top, that maybe a little further down the road.
Mm,
But simply doing that simple bouncing exercise really, I think, really helps us let go in the body and let the arms move however they're going to move. And you can also, in doing that, refine um, the twisting of the arms with your intent. Um, so you can. I just found that a really helpful exercise when I was trying to get into this third movement, third swing. Um, as I've said, it took me a long time to really get to where I felt like I was doing the third swing.
Yeah, I'm still not there, and I think the bouncy definitely helped to move me along the path because I felt like I was kind of making a hard stop at the down and the up. I
Yeah,
felt like there was kind of a hard stop as I was, and it didn't feel fluid.
and and that causes you to activate the muscles to reverse when you stop.
Mm.
Um, and you're trying to do these swings with the arms completely relaxed. So yeah,
The
it's I I would say I was trying to think about this. I think it probably took me somewhere like 5 to 7 years before I really felt like I had the third swing
mm,
where it was moving pretty well.
okay, okay.
I really think from the time I first started playing around with it to when I finally really felt, aha, that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and the other thing is in both the second and third swings, the footwork is a little tricky because it's not it's not one, it's an uneven, um, almost syncopated change.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that too contributes because if the feet are not functioning in coordination with what's happening with the bounce, um, that throws you way off.
Hmm. Hmm. That might be an interesting thing to explore is the footwork with that bounciness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's why we really work on the bounciness straight ahead for a while before we add the stepping to the side.
Okay. 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 The concept of the emptying the arms, um, I feel I've got a little bit of an advantage there because the way my Chicago professor helped me play the piano was more weight based than muscular pushing based.
Oh, good.
So that whole empty the arms, I mean, I don't know how many lessons I had where literally he'd come and just throw my arm to try and get me to empty it, basically. He didn't use those words, but that was basically what it was. And so, yes, it's still a work in progress there, but it's a work in progress. I started quite a lot earlier than with this.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm a little bit ahead of the curve on that one, but
Yep.
as soon as I say that, I know it's like it's it's not gonna be so, you know. But but it feels, especially on the first and second swings,
hmm
it feels like I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I'm close to, I feel like I'm further along on the
Yeah.
journey with that.
It is, and that's I think that's how it goes for everybody. I remember it's funny. You said that, and I was thinking, God, it's been I don't know how long ago, 12 or 15 years ago. I was at Brookline Tai Chi doing a workshop with Bill Ryan, who's Bruce's most senior student. Um, and there was a young woman in a adjoining room doing gods, and I had been playing around a little with gods at that point, but I hadn't done a whole lot yet. But I knew what she was doing because I'd done a little bit. So I watched her, and she went through cloud hands and the first two swings, and they all looked really good, like she really had that. And then she hit the third swing, and it all fell apart.
Mm.
And but she had gotten the concept of not lifting her arms, and her arms were only coming up a little bit. She wasn't trying to force them beyond that point. And I thought, she's going to make it. She'll get it because she's got the concepts and she's working at it the right way. And she's not lifting her arms. She's accepting the fact that she's only getting them up a foot at the moment. And I don't know. That was just an aha moment for me in a way.
Mm. 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 Yeah.
So
Speaking of Bruce, I'm on his email, the Energy Arts email. Every once in a while, I get different updates and state of the day type addresses and things like
yeah,
that. And there was one where there was an offer for a monthly subscription kind of thing. Do you do that with him?
for the Energy Arts Training Circle.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I do that because some of what I've done with him, I've done through that, and also in order to be able to maintain the ability to go in and look at all the videos from everything that I've done previously, I have to keep paying every month.
Mm. Mm.
They're sneaky a little bit that way.
Oh, okay.
But it's a reasonable. I guess they just raised the fee $5 to 52 a month, I think.
Okay.
Um, but it's a very reasonable fee because they offer a lot for that you can access if if you have the time and um, want if whatever's appropriate for you. And they do different things. Bruce teaches. Paul Clavel from England has been teaching quite a bit recently, and then he has a senior student originally from New York who I think is now resident at the school in Colorado. Does quite a bit of teaching, and uh, actually I think he's got several students who either live in the area or live at the school,
Mm.
who assist and demonstrate and do whatever. So yeah, it's definitely worth it if you actually really use it.
Yeah, and that's where I, my schedule is so out there that I couldn't consistently, and
Yeah.
I didn't know if that would help me to be able to have these video accesses or not. But
Well, the other thing I'll say that if you have that access, you are able to download those, whatever they're doing, and have copies on your computer.
okay.
So um, it is possible. And between Bruce and his senior students, there's a huge amount of information
That's what I
available.
thought. Yeah, that's what I thought, and I just wasn't sure. I always have a bigger plate than and I know I can actually accommodate, but a plate of my bucket list, what mixing my metaphors there, but
Yeah.
it's like I've I've always got that kind of thing, and I just don't know if it'd be something that'd be worthwhile or not. And I wasn't sure if it was open to teachers only or if it was students.
No. Uh, and the good thing I would say, well, I think that opened your access to some of the major trainings that he has done, which you have to pay additionally for, and they're
Mm,
moderately expensive. I've spent a lot of money um, doing some trainings online because Bruce really stopped traveling, except um, he goes to. I don't think he goes to Europe now anymore, but he used to go to Europe every year for a few weeks and do some workshops over there. Previously, he had done workshops in several schools over the United States. Brookline, where Bill Ryan was one that he came to, and I went. I did some workshops with Bruce um, in Brookline. Excuse me, several years ago. But then he pretty much started just training online, um, unless you wanted to go and spend a lot of money. Um, you have to go to
yeah.
Colorado to see him now.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that he really put his focus there in Colorado and and really built up a big enough center that it was accommodating to people coming in more than him going out.
It's a big. The building he found apparently is very large. Um, I want to say it's 8,000 square feet or more. Um, I don't know. There's one uh, primary room where they do um, classes, which I think, excuse me, originally was an auditorium, and I think they took all the chairs out and flattened the floor,
Mm,
which I think was on an angle. Um, he did. They spent quite a bit of money, I think, refurbishing the building, and they have placed where um, people. I think that the teachers and can stay. I don't think they offer housing for people coming in for workshops, because they advertise a lot of different hotels and motels in the area. Um, but it's a very nice facility. And they do, they have a kitchen so that they offer meals. If you're there for a workshop, they can offer a meal. Um, so they've done, I think, a very nice job. It's a nice, seems to be a really nice facility.
mm,
He Bruce looked for years to find a place that had the right energy.
mm,
He really wanted to. Matter of fact, he lives in Hawaii now, and he I think was looking in Hawaii for quite a while, but he couldn't find a place that he felt had the right energy.
mm.
And he finally found this place in Colorado. Who knows how he ran on that, but he's a traveler, so
Yep.
interesting guy. Um, he's had a long, fascinating life.
I've read some of his bio and
Yeah.
just the exploration he did for so many years in China and Japan and
Uh, Yeah, he was very lucky to be able to do that. He I think his family had money, but I think also some of the time he would come back here and teach for a few months and then go back to China for a couple of years, or Taiwan or wherever he was. But he has studied with a lot of really incredible teachers along the way, and amazingly connected with Master Liu, that his final teacher,
Mm.
who was a who was a real master and considered to be a both a Taoist sage and a Buddhist enlightened master. He and he was Tai Chi master and in at least two styles. Um, and capable. It's interesting. He taught both water and fire methods of Taoism. He and Bruce had met. I forget. I think may have been in Singapore. He met a guy who had been Master Liu's final fire method student, and asked, would he give him an introductory letter to Master Liu? And he said, sure, he'd give him a letter, but he said Master Liu had stopped teaching and he would not take any more students. And Bruce Bruce said, well, I really want to try because he embodies everything that I really want to learn at this point. So he went. Master Liu lived outside of Beijing. He went and he appeared and knocked on the door, and Master Liu. They got introduced, and he took the letter, and he said to Bruce, "Come back tomorrow." Sent him away right away, but said, "Come back tomorrow." And Bruce went away, not knowing what was going to happen. He came back the next day, and Master Liu invited him in, and they sat down and talked. And gradually, Master Liu told him that he would accept him as a student only because in the last month he had had two dreams that he would teach a Western student.
Oh, oh wow. Yeah.
And he did. He actually, in his time, Master Liu actually considered him his final disciple and passed his lineage to him
Mm,
eventually.
quite the
Uh,
honor.
oh, yeah, massive. Um, and one of the things I have really liked. I have looked at videos of Bruce over probably at least a 40-year period, and you can see the growth, see the change in him. Um, Gradually, his ego has softened. When I met him in '97, I did not like him. I admired him, but I didn't like him. But now I'm very fond of him, and he's just really tried. He has worked very hard to achieve what he's achieved, and really wants to. He really wants to communicate.
Yeah, that's the thing that I really get from the videos that I've seen. Rick and I went to see him once at a workshop in DC
Uh huh.
for Dragon Tiger, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And that was, yes, it was, there's definitely that real wall, that boundary. and you could see that there was still a bit of ego that but it was more in that, it was more founded in the reality of what he could actually offer. It wasn't like
Yeah,
an arrogance that was out there and not had didn't have any substance behind it.
yeah,
And so yeah, I was impressed with the amount of knowledge that he had and the amount that he was trying to express to everybody,
yep,
and with that big of a workshop, it was hard to there's definitely no way that he could really get anything overall, but he gave it some thought and had some of his senior teachers
oh yeah,
floating around to try and help him.
yep,
So it looked like he had really put some thought into how to make this accessible, even though it was a big, unwieldy kind of thing.
oh yeah. Well, as you read through his books, and he's written quite a few at this point, um, you realize um, how much he had to put into to being able to communicate, try to communicate this. And when you do workshops with him, I mean, I I I did one workshop with him, which was really I I have not recovered from. Uh, it was learning to do, learning to meditate while doing Tai Chi.
Hmm.
And I couldn't do it then, nor can I really do it yet. I unfortunately, I think it's still beyond me, although I sort of know where I'm going. Um, and you really, by the time you left with that particular workshop, you really understood the difference between meditative movement and meditation,
Hmm.
because they are not the same. And um, most of us can get to meditative movement with Tai Chi without too much uh, difficulty, just a matter of practice and dedication. But getting that beyond that barrier where you actually meditate as you're doing Tai Chi,
Hmm.
um, I, I, I think you would understand that. Um, but that was interesting. And he did at the same time. He did a parallel. I don't know. That was during the day. At night, over several nights, he taught a just a meditation, Taoist meditation workshop in which we were doing meditating lying down,
Hmm.
and we had a specific position we had to lie in, and that in that workshop, I have to say that the thing that really um, that I for the first time really think I felt was Bruce was actually through a lot of that actually transmitting rather than talking.
Hmm.
And that was the first time that I ever felt that I had that kind of a connection with a teacher.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's probably part of why I continued to study with him. Um, because that's amazing.
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
So anyway, blah blah blah. Boy, you
Yes.
you got me talking, Linda.
Sorry, I derailed us.
It's all right. It's just us
Yes, but
and the
yeah,
recording. So we probably should do a little energy gates and
yes,
do our meditation.
yes.
So let's do that.
Okay.
Endeavoring to empty our arms. So stepping out, letting yourself settle into your basic structure, being very aware of your connection down into the earth and up through Bai Hui into the universe. Feel that suspension between those two areas, those two energies. Checking through the body, making sure that you release and allow the openness as well as you can all the way through. From above the crown of the head to below the feet. And then focusing the intent to sink the energy the body cannot use down into the earth. So releasing downward, letting that energy drop through where it can be refreshed and renewed and recycled. And then coming back to center and extending your mind intent through the body. So that you can feel what's happening inside your body. Feel how the energy is flowing. Feel where it's impeded or blocked. The mind intent does not move the chi, but it does direct its movement. So use it to feel and direct your chi to flow through the body. And then flowing into cloud hands. And really being aware of the fact that you're working with a sphere of energy. And that every part of every movement is rounded. And then flowing into the swings. going to continue today with hopefully an agenda focused on an anxiety. Whatever that may be. So sitting straight, aware of your alignment. Again, feeling the feet connecting down to the earth and the head up to the heavens. And focusing on the breath, allowing yourself to slow and smooth the breath, using as much of your longevity breathing as you can without effort. And then extending your mind through your body and become comfortable with it inside your body. Feeling all the way from above the crown of your head to below your feet. And then become aware and focus on your personal anxiety. And go back to the crown of your head. And really be aware of what that anxiety is. And start dissolving downward, ice to water, and water to inner space. And you're trying to dissolve everything that is blocked from the crown of your head down just to your heart. Remember that you are releasing the heart. Which is the pure source of the ideas that are causing the blockages. Now, as you continue, you can choose to dissolve the energy of the anxiety, or you can try and start becoming sensitive to what are the images that are triggering your anxiety. So begin dissolving the energy of your anxiety, or simply focusing on becoming sensitive to the images. So any form of anxiety is eventually being triggered by your internal organs and glands. And they have to calm down, or you're going to keep getting that anxiety. So now begin dissolving down toward your lower dantian. Ice to water, water to inner space. And work on releasing everything in your lower dantian and going to emptiness. Now when your heart and your lower dantian are both clear, you go for the last thing. Going on down, ice to water, water to gas, and dissolve downward, making sure that you really dissolve your genitals until they are all smooth. And then you keep on going down your legs, your thighs, your knees, your calves, ankles and feet. Until you have dropped everything that you are dissolving to the bubbling wells in your feet. And from there, let it just flow down into the earth. Just keep on dissolving downward. Ice to water, water to inner space. Until you go completely quiet and you have moved into emptiness enough And you just practice sitting like that for a while. You just sit until your body shifts to the point that you don't have any expectations at all that your anxiety is going to return. And let us close whenever you're ready. sending all benefit gained from this practice out to help all the sentient creatures of the universe. So, any last minute thoughts or questions?
No, no, I'm good.
Yes, you are.